3 years of truth. 116 Russian channels showed the collapse of the special military operation, a fuel crisis in Russia, panic at gas stations, lines, fights, and shouting. Ukraine showcased its latest missiles, the Long Neptune and the Flamingo, while the occupiers are burning with a new alliance. Ukraine and Lithuania are launching defense production against the aggressor. I'll share all the details in just a moment. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I am Victoria Panchenko, and here are the latest events. There is no gasoline and there won't be any. On Ukraine's Independence Day, Russian viewers were shown the truth about the so-called special military operation. Kiev 24 sources in the defense intelligence of Ukraine report that cyber partisans managed to hack Russia's third largest provider and, for more than 3 hours, broadcast unauthorized video about the real results of Russia's war against Ukraine to at least 50,000 subscribers in Moscow and other regions of the Russian Federation. The broadcast took place simultaneously on 116 TV channels. In addition, cyber activists managed to block the provider administrators' access to the servers, making it harder for them to interrupt the partisan video broadcast. How did it happen? Watch right now.
1 million soldiers dead, no gasoline. The oil refineries have been destroyed. Donetsk is without water, and the air is filled with the stench of sewage. The Black Sea Fleet has been crushed. The ships are either at the bottom or hiding in harbors. 3.5 years of war, and Putin hasn't fully captured a single region of Ukraine. Ukraine is still independent, but now it can strike any city in Russia. Our children have learned the sound of the air raid siren.
The special military operation is proceeding strictly according to schedule, according to plan.
This is indeed Putin's comprehensive plan for the region.
And in the swamps, there really is a total collapse. Russians are storming gas stations. There is panic in the streets. Gas stations are paralyzed. Ukrainian drones have taken down the Russian oil system. The gasoline hysteria is gaining momentum. These scenes are blowing up the internet. Ukrainian drones have created real chaos in Russian oil refining. Drone attacks have forced Russia to say goodbye to more than 13% of its refinery capacity. For example, on August 2nd, drones struck the Novokuybishevsk refinery owned by Rosneft. This giant, which processes more than 8 million tons of oil annually, simply came to a standstill. 9 days later, on August 11th, the Saratov refinery, which also belongs to Rosneft and processes more than 5 million tons per year, was shut down. And on August 15th, the real climax came. The Volgograd refinery, the largest in southern Russia, and the Samara refinery, which processes 8 million tons annually, also fell victim to drones. As a result, over the course of 3 weeks, Russia lost 44.3 million tons of annual capacity. That's 13.5% of their total figure. What consequences of this are already being felt in Russia? We've gathered information about this for you in our report.
In Primorsky Krai, there are kilometer-long lines at gas stations due to a fuel shortage.
This is what the line looks like on Melniknaya. In short, this is the situation at Alliance.
Well, it's probably going to be a kilometer soon. Everyone here is waiting for some gasoline.
Currently, there are gasoline problems in many regions of the Russian Federation. Earlier, in annexed Crimea, there were problems with gasoline at gas stations due to the special military operation. And in Zabaikalsky Krai, gasoline started being sold with ration cards. The main reasons are inflation, high demand, and constant strikes on oil refineries. The last factor is becoming very significant. Ukrainian drones attack Russian oil refineries almost every night. This is a strike on the Lukoil oil refinery in the Volgograd region, which is among the top 10 in Russia and is one of the largest producers of petroleum products in the southern federal district. Over the past week, Ukrainian UAVs have struck oil refineries 3 times already. The plant has ceased operations approximately until mid-September.
We are now seeing reports almost every single day that major, significant and crucial oil refineries located in the European part of the continent have been seriously affected. The most recent is the Volgograd Lukoil plant, and drones are even reaching as far as the Ukhta plant in Komi, also a Lukoil facility, and some plants have simply shut down.
On August 2nd, after UAV strikes, the Novokuybishevsk oil refinery ceased operations. On August 11th, the Saratov oil refinery stopped accepting raw materials. On August 15th, it became known that the Volgograd oil refinery had shut down, and on the same day after a drone attack, the Samara refinery also stopped accepting oil for processing.
Drone strikes on Russian oil refineries, which intensified in August and led to the shutdown of at least 4 major refineries, deprived the economy of 1/7 of its most powerful oil refining capacity. Thus, in just under 3 weeks, oil producers lost 44.3 million tons of annual refinery capacity. That's minus 13.5% of the country's total figure, which amounts to 328 million tons per year.
According to Reuters, repairs at some plants will take at least a month, and the Samara refinery will be idle until the end of August. Difficulties with repairs are related to sanctions.
Western equipment for oil refineries fell under European restrictive measures as part of the very first package following the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, and this is causing disruptions. As a result, in 2025, Russia once again faced a gasoline shortage. Exchange prices for AI-92 and AI-95 skyrocketed at the beginning of the year, rising by 40% and 50% respectively, and set new historical records: 71,970 rubles per ton and 81,337 rubles per ton.
If Ukraine continues to strike Russian oil refineries, the problems with prices and the availability of gasoline in Russia will only get worse. And the current lines for fuel in some regions of Russia will seem like nothing compared to what could happen, for example, in just a month.
If the Ukrainians would ignore Biden's request not to strike oil terminals on the Black Sea, for example, in Novorossiysk, in Tuapse, or on the Baltic, where Ust-Luga and Primorsk are the two main terminals, and start attacking them, this will have a very serious impact on Russia's ability to export oil.
Strikes on Russian oil refineries and the resulting loss of capacity, as well as the potential for increased attacks, are a serious trump card in possible negotiations between Zelensky and Putin.
Ukraine continues to torment the occupiers every day. The Z propagandists were left scratching their heads again because for the first time the new Long Neptune missile was shown publicly. We're talking about a long-range modification of the R-360 Neptune cruise missile, which is capable of striking targets at a distance of up to 1,000 kilometers. Even though the development of the missile became known back in November 2023, no images had been released until now. The situation changed on Ukraine's Independence Day. A video appeared on the official account of the state portal Zbroya, where most likely the Long Neptune is shown alongside other samples of domestic weaponry.
We are Ukrainians. We are truly blessed with a unique and remarkable country, an incredibly ancient and profound history, a wonderfully rich and vibrant culture, and truly authentic and cherished traditions that we diligently pass down from one generation to the next, ensuring their enduring legacy. We have strength and willpower. We possess both unwavering courage and profound dignity, and importantly, we are also equipped with formidable weapons. We are proud Ukrainians. We have gained our independence and our freedom, and we possess powerful weapons for our defense.
Let us remind you, Ukraine has successfully tested and used the Long Neptune missile. It was likely on March 14, 2025. The missile was launched at an oil refinery in Tuapse.
It appears we have been hit once again, unfortunately.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
By the way, last week, Ukraine also made headlines. Even now, the whole world is still discussing Ukraine's long-range Flamingo missile. And Putin's propagandist Skabayeva even turned red live on air and started shouting that now the entire European part of Russia is in the crosshairs. What's more, the first video of the new missile has appeared. And that's not all. The Flamingo is already in serial production. Watch for more details right now.
The Ukrainian Wunderwaffe and superweapon looks like a twin brother of the British FP5 Melania missile, which was demonstrated just 6 months ago at the IDEX 2023 arms exhibition in Abu Dhabi. It was stated there that the heavy FP5 cruise missile carries a warhead weighing 1 ton, reaches speeds of up to 950 kilometers per hour, and is capable of striking targets at a distance of 3,000 kilometers. The Ukrainian missile coincidentally has similar specifications, which means that the entire European part of Russia, the Urals, and even part of Western Siberia are within its strike range. A warhead weighing a ton and a flight range well over 1,000 kilometers. Ukrainian photographer Yefrem Lukatsky, who collaborates with Associated Press, published photos of the new Ukrainian long-range missile Flamingo.
The Ukrainian-made Flamingo missiles, with a range of over 3,000 kilometers, have entered serial production. They can be seen in the workshop of one of the country's leading defense companies, Firepoint, at an undisclosed location in Ukraine.
The caption under the photo states that it was taken on August 14th in the workshop of the defense company Firepoint. In the photo, the missiles in the workshop are already ready for shipment. It appears that the Flamingo may be in serial production. Ukrainian official sources in the missile sector have long hinted that the Ukrainian defense industry is preparing a major long-range surprise for the Russians. And judging by everything, the Flamingo is exactly the surprise they were talking about. According to military analysts, the missile is very simple to manufacture, and that's exactly what Ukraine needs right now.
This is great news. The missile really is simple. It can't be compared to the likes of the Storm Shadow, Scalp, and so on. But in this case, we don't need very complex guidance systems. Modern American or British missiles have visual guidance systems that can home in on infrared images even when various anti-missile countermeasures are used. In this case, we don't need that. Pavlo Narozhny, military expert.
All currently known and available facts and pieces of evidence clearly indicate that the so-called Flamingo is, in actual reality, the already well-known FP5 cruise missile, which originates from the Millennium Group. The visual appearance, along with the detailed descriptions of these missiles, are indeed identical in every significant aspect.
More than 50 of these missiles can be produced each month. This, of course, is explained by the right approach, where in favor of mass production, such complexities as launch from a transport launch container and a folding wing were sacrificed. At the same time, this comes at the cost of a relatively long pre-launch preparation of 20 to 40 minutes. But with such capabilities, the FP5 is quite an effective trade-off. The company also stated that the missile uses satellite navigation resistant to electronic warfare, as well as an inertial system. According to Defense Express,
the warhead of the Flamingo weighs 1 ton. This is twice as powerful as the American Tomahawk. And most importantly, it is designed for mass production. Russia systematically tries to cripple the Ukrainian defense industry, and Ukraine needs to act in the same way, focusing on destroying the Russian military-industrial complex.
And it is enormous in size. And we see that most of these factories can be hit with cheap drones which fly not at 1,000 kilometers per hour like this missile, but at a speed of 200 to 250 kilometers per hour. So right now, we need a large number of inexpensive means that can effectively destroy the Russian economy and military-industrial complex. And this missile is capable of doing that. Pavlo Narozhny, military expert.
Kyiv has not made any official statements about the new long-range missile Flamingo, and in this case, most likely, everyone will simply see the results of the Flamingo strike on Russian military factories.
The Kremlin is rapidly losing its advantage in the air. The Russian army has almost no aviation missiles left. I don't even know if I should say this or not, but I'll tell you. The main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has published information that Russian enterprises involved in the production of Kh-59 and Kh-69 missiles are experiencing serious difficulties due to the sanctions imposed on Russia. In particular, 50 out of 116 companies are unable to deliver products for the production of these missiles on time.
Thousands of electronic components, which were supposed to improve lives and serve development, are being turned by the aggressor into tools for killing. Their weapons depend on foreign components. Without them, they cannot continue to fight, occupy, and kill.
The production of missiles and other high-tech military equipment in the Russian Federation still relies on intermediaries operating through supply companies.
And it seems that for the Kremlin, this scheme has finally come to an end. Without high-precision Western components, the military-industrial complex of the aggressor country faces a colossal shortage. Indeed, the occupiers have effectively lost all their stockpiles of medium-range air-launched missiles.
The Russian defense industry is dependent on Western technologies. This concerns not only the components used during the assembly of key units, but primarily the manufacturing process itself. The Russian defense industry is dependent in the field of computer numerical program control, that is, CNC technology, which is crucial.
Without software and the components themselves, nearly 40% of Russian companies involved in the production of Kh-59 and Kh-69 class missiles are forced to shut down production or, at the very least, take extended forced breaks, according to the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. This in turn leads to a catastrophic shortage of medium-range missiles in the enemy's arsenal, which is unlikely to be replenished, military experts explain.
Production will be slower, it will be more expensive, and it may be of lower quality because it's impossible to guarantee what kind of parts will be used.
At first, the Kremlin wanted to replace Western components with Chinese ones. Fortunately, Putin is still on friendly terms with China. However, friendship is one thing, but business is business. Chinese companies are not willing to risk falling under new Western, especially American sanctions, and therefore refuse to supply Russia en masse with the goods needed for its military-industrial complex.
It's no coincidence that there has been a redirection, a reorientation towards the Chinese market. In other words, they are trying to replace Western technological equipment with cheaper copies produced by the People's Republic of China. But even in this case, the Russian Federation has faced the fact that China has imposed a ban on the supply of dual-use goods, primarily for the Russian military-industrial complex. Therefore, we can say that at this point, the Russian side is facing truly critical issues regarding the feasibility of implementing its program to develop modern weaponry.
The acute shortage of components for the Russian military-industrial complex has even led to what is known as missile cannibalism. This is when old systems from warehouses and museums are dismantled and their parts are cobbled together by hand to make new missiles. However, even this is only a temporary measure. The Kremlin has practically run out of both old Soviet missile engines and components for guidance systems. This is not the first time something like this has happened to us. As a result, the Russian military-industrial complex has actively started replacing its own high-precision weapons like the Kh-59 and Kh-69 missiles with cheaper and sometimes blatantly makeshift means of attack. Such examples are the Danem and Banderol missiles. The latter is a weapon with a cruising speed of almost 600 kilometers per hour, a flight range of nearly 200 kilometers, and virtually zero accuracy. Due to the lack of those same Western components, guidance systems in such weapons are practically non-existent. As for the Danem, the occupiers are faring even worse with it. In fact, it is essentially just an aerial target, not some new product created from scratch. Hence the catastrophically low effectiveness. However, due to a lack of better options, the Kremlin is content with what it has and is ramping up the production of at least this kind of weapon on a large scale. Meanwhile, our defenders, as analysts explain, are already preparing to counter new Russian challenges and are testing inexpensive types of weapons to destroy Russian banderoles even as they approach.
More. Europe is also supporting Ukraine with arms. In particular, a letter of intent was signed regarding joint production of defense products between Lithuania and Ukraine. This was announced by Ukraine's Minister of Defense, Denis Shmyhal. According to him, the document creates new opportunities for launching joint production, particularly for the development of long-range drones, the expansion of Ukrainian companies in Lithuania, and technology exchange.
Signing of a letter of intent between the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine and the Ministry of National Defense of the Republic of Lithuania regarding the joint production of defense materials by Lithuania and Ukraine. Signing the document are Ukraine's Minister of Defense, Denis Shmyhal, and the Minister of Defense of the Republic of Lithuania, Ms. Dovail Shakaliene.
And what do you think about the new Ukrainian military developments, the Long Neptune and Flamingo missiles? We look forward to your comments. Stay tuned for even more crucial and significant updates that will be shared very soon. And please do not forget to show your support by liking this video, as it truly helps us out. Wishing each and every one of you wonderfully peaceful and serene skies above, filled with calm and tranquility.